Well, I had a near-death experience at the age of 3. I was back in the early 60s, and what happened was I was being abused, and I left my body because it hurt, and so I was viewing the abuse happening from behind the person who was abusing me, and at one point my spirit or whatever just kind of left the room. We were in like a shack kind of a place, and I kind of went up through the roof and was drifting over the shack and this lake and the countryside, and then about this time I'm noticing and I'm looking down at all of this going on. I felt this sense of peace because I had let go. And so as soon as I decided to let go, I left and went up. And so I'm watching this from above, and I notice off to the left was spirit or some type of light being, and they were talking to me. And since I was so young, I was only 3, so I didn't have a whole grasp of obviously English language, but there was a communication going on with this spirit or light being, and so we kind of took off for a flight, and we were flying over the countryside, and I'm looking down and watching this being and being with me, and I was very happy, and it's kind of like a Peter Pan kind of thing, and was enjoying the ride, and it was so awesome to see from above and watch all these things happen. And I was really sort of getting into that and has completely forgotten that, you know, I was down there having, you know, other things happening. So we continued to sort of fly over the city and buildings, and at one point I'm looking down at all of these things, and then I look up and notice that there's all this color and light, and I started going for the light, and it was like bubbles, and like they glowed like many brilliant colors that were not like earthly colors, and they glowed like televisions, and they were spheres of light, and as deep and as far as I could see, there was just an ocean of these spheres of light all around me, and I was actually taking them and rubbing them on myself and wiping myself with them. And there became a moment where it was I knew that I couldn't stay. It's like I had been turned loose in a toy store, and suddenly I was being taken away from it. And so I was trying to swim almost upstream into the light or back to the light, and instead of going forward, I was actually sucked back down into my body, and sort of with a hard thud landed back in my body. And when I came to, I had amnesia. I didn't really know who I was or what had happened, and I began this life of putting my life back together again by noticing what my siblings did, how my siblings acted. And the most interesting thing about this is that I didn't know that this occurred until December of 2005, when I was in a therapy situation, and the light and the bubbles and all of that sort of came back and flooded back into my mind. And I had a remembering of what had happened, and almost a reenactment. So I sort of had this spiritually transformative experience in '05 that I was able to remember the near-death experience I had as a child at the age of 3. And so my point is that, you know, you don't always remember when these things happen. You just realize that you're different. And my search to find out why I was different paid off, and now I'm together.